Hi, this is Carl Irwin, the Common Magician. Good to see you again. I've been away for a little while. I recently posted a little advertisement for an ebook that I have selling now on Penguin Magic. You can go there and download my ebook entitled Any Thoughts on ACAAN from a Common Magician. It has a compilation of a number of different ideas that I have, some of which I've shared at least a little bit on this channel. I just wanted to quickly note that I am not changing my platform in any way. I'm not withholding, information and coming up with these tiers. Again, this is a hobby of mine. I share freely what I know, but I thought it would be I think therapeutic for myself and also interesting to put together a compilation of a variety of ideas that I had on the subject into a book, and I came up with over a 100-page book with some essays and a number of effects that are in there, tying together various ideas on the subject of ACAAN. So it is available for download. It's fairly affordable, $5.99, $6. If you support me here as a subscriber and you want to support me in an additional way, you can go to Penguin Magic and download my ebook Any for $5.99. Also, if you download it and if you read it and if you enjoy it, please write a review at Penguin. Give me 5 stars and write a nice review. If you hate the book, pretend like you never saw it. That would be wonderful. So, anyway, I did want to continue on, though, here. I promised you a while back that I was looking into creating a series dealing with forces and making forces more, I don't know how we should say, more believable, right? More convincing. People shy away from forces, and I think that's a big mistake. I think that, forcing something as a magician, as a card magician, or even as a mentalist, or some other kind of effect where a choice is apparently being made, I think that forcing is just one of the best direct killer methods that exists in magic. And if you can manage to force something, then you should do it. If you can do it in such a way that it is not perceived as a force. There's no reason to not do a force unless you can't, unless it's not really possible. So I just laugh when I see the very sad copy of effects that are out there that says no forcing. It's just, I say, why? Why would you consider that to be some kind of liability in a magical effect? I think what really needs to be looked at is a way to force better. So we're going to look at a few, hopefully short videos here in a series looking at how to make your forces more believable. So I'm going to start with the basic premise that pick forces, this sounds silly, right? But pick forces that, or use forces that look, they appear to be realistic. There's something that you would actually run into, right? If you were really going to make someone choose something, a clear choice, right, you would say, go ahead, take a card. Like that. I mean, this is free. That's what it would look like, right? You might even give them the cards. Just take a card out of there, right? So pick forces to use that are as close to that concept as you can get. We're going to look at a variety of those types, and then we're going to throw out a bunch of others. I think my first tip here is to avoid things that look just downright suspicious from the beginning, right? There's various kinds of flashy sorts of forces to force a top card. I've got a joker on the top here of the deck. It's the only joker. I took the other one out, so that's my force card. I think we want to avoid these kinds of forces that just look elaborate, something like that to force a card. This sort of thing where the idea is you're forcing the top, but you're cutting off part of the deck, as if you're cutting the deck in the middle. Nobody does that. So don't do that, right? Do something that looks real. Now, a lot of people will talk about using the classic force, there's a number of individuals out there that will discuss that you ought to try the classic force because anybody can just modify or pivot in their classic force if it doesn't go well, and you can do something else. I kind of say forget it. This is for me. I don't want to stamp all over the classic force because I know a lot of people can do it really well, but it just isn't worth it to me. It just isn't worth it to me, and it may not be worth it to you when there's other options. So, for example, I use a spread call force in place of a classic because it looks legit. So I place my force card fourth from the top. Okay, fourth from the top, because I find that I can call under 3 cards pretty well. And then I spread call to that when I spread, right? So I spread out and I say, just put out one, can you put out one finger? And then what I do is I call out the 4th card, and then I continue my spread, and I'm calling in my force card underneath, and I say, go ahead and touch a card in the middle, somewhere in the middle of the spread. So I direct them into the center just with my words to kind of avoid those clowns that like to touch the top or the bottom of the deck. They'll reach out, they touch a card. Now, I think this is a mistake. One mistake in the call force is that people do this. They square like that, and then they show. I don't think that's at all necessary. I think that you do need to do some squaring because the called card is back out of the way, but I don't think it needs to be terribly aggressive. So, and you don't have to get very elaborate, right? There's some substitution maneuvers where you can substitute in the called card for one that's outjogged or something like that. I don't think that's necessary either. So again, 4th card in, you call it, and then you spread. You say, just go ahead and touch a card in the middle of the spread somewhere, any one. They touch it, and then I think the best thing to do is whenever you go to square, don't be very obvious with the square, but think more about pushing your called card out. Think more about pushing outward as you turn up like this. So you hold and you push outward so that you're not squaring entirely. You're still holding a spread there, right? You can even do this motion in a way as if to kind of shield it as you turn your head away, right? And it looks fair. It looks like you're trying to be fair about it. Okay, so that's the first one I've got. Use the types of forces that look real. They look realistic. They look like something that you would actually come across. A sort of procedure that looks like the real thing, not like something else. Okay, I mean, you think about it. If I was taking a walk in the woods, right, it would be unusual for me to suddenly find, a toilet sitting in the woods that worked and flushed and everything. It wouldn't belong there. That doesn't fit, right? I would expect to find a tree or a stump, right, in the woods. I would find something that belongs in the woods. So you want to do something that looks as close to what is expected to be seen in the moment of a selection. That's tip number 1 in this series. So good luck with that. Happy magicking. And go check out my ebook. And again, if you like it, write a nice review. We'll catch you later.